Welcome to Muse. My name's Susan Rushton, you know that. And before I go any further, I want, as always, to explain what Muse is. I've used it because the muses are those delighted by art who make communities better by urging and applauding art of all kinds. And I wanted to have it to be about the muses because the 8 muses, years, decades, thousands of years ago, were the 8 muses were the goddesses of science and the arts. Goddesses, you heard that? Goddesses? That's what the muses were. So today my guest is Susan Sorensen.
Hi there.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
And she is deeply involved in art. And before I go any further, her email, if you're interested, Susan Sorensen 1 at gmail.com. And I will also, you're going to see this underneath, but she has a blog, susansorensen.blogspot.com, question mark M=1, and Facebook, facebook.com, draw garbage question mark MIBEXTID equal WWXLFR. And you see that, and that's the last time I'll talk about it. You'll see it several times, I'm sure. Where do you live?
In Colfax.
In Colfax. How long have you lived in Colfax?
Oh, 36 years.
36 years.
In the same house.
36 years.
Lived in Reno before that. That's where I got my education.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And so I just learned, you just told me this morning, this morning, that you were a founding commander of the Auburn Old Town Gallery.
Yeah, that was 1996.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that I'm aware of that, and I've loved it. I'm thrilled with it. For one thing, that has started other things.
Oh, definitely. I like your opening statement about art in the community because art actually heals communities. Art heals people. It's being used by many, psychiatrists around the world to help people with many issues in their lives, and it's an extremely successful thing.
And tell us what you know about that. I don't know about that. Tell us about it.
Probably my first awareness of this was a really important book written by Betty Edwards that most artists who have tried to learn how to draw know about, and the name of it is Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And the reason for that is because
the right side of the brain.
That's your creative side.
Okay.
And when people go to school, that's kind of left at home looking at the wall because the art is not as important as the other subjects that kids are taught.
People think it's not as important.
So because they grow up thinking they don't have that ability, and even if they want to try to learn how to draw, they are embarrassed and intimidated and ashamed of wanting to, because by the time they're grown, they feel like it's a childish endeavor. It's for kids. It's something to do with crayons mostly. And society teaches us that it's not a profitable thing. If we're not going to be able to sustain our life with an art background. But not only does this book has proved that to be wrong. This person, Betty Edward, who wrote the book, in her career, she taught at California University in Long Beach. And she worked with many psychologists who work with children and their problems with children and even adults to prove that art is as important as all these other things because it gives you creative problem solving. And that's extremely important.
Creative problem solving.
So we're not growing up with this in our life. Yes, we're taught to analyze and use words. So we have analytic and verbal learning when we go to school. But meanwhile, the artist in us is left home not growing. It's still a baby. And then we are mean to that baby by saying, you can't do it.
See, you can't do it. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But
it's
but
part
the
of,
more you do, the better you get.
well, we're good at all of the things that we do the most often, aren't we? You
Yes.
do this.
Yeah.
See, I'm nervous being here. You're not, because this is something that you do. So if I were teaching you how to draw, and you do you draw? I didn't. That's a question I should have asked you.
Sometimes.
Do you?
But I write more than I draw.
That's a beautiful art. Writing
it's a beautiful art.
It is, and it's as important as being a musician, a theatrical performer. Yeah. If you're writing, that's an art. It's a creative outlet.
Yes.
And that's what we need. We need to be able to express ourselves creatively. It's the creative part of us. Well, so many people say, I'm not creative because they don't think, well, they don't have a writing ability, they don't have a drawing ability, they don't have a musical ability, they don't have an onstage performing ability, or all the other arts that you can think of. And so therefore they think they're just not creative. So you can't not be creative. If you pick out what shoes you're going to wear today, you're creative. If you decide what kind of haircut you want, that's being creative. Take a certain road on the way to work, that's using your creative problem solving.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
So how long have you been involved in
Been an artist?
In this artistry?
I've been an artist all my life, and I probably should tell you
why.
More importantly, why. Okay, the most important thing I think, because I'm writing a book on this topic, is that I was always told that it's not important, which I've already covered, but I wasn't provided with opportunities or materials to draw with. We had coloring books, but they were few and far between. And I had to share a little box of crayons with other siblings. So that made it kind of tough. And then when you use a coloring book, then what? You're told to color within the lines. So it's humiliating and it's intimidating, and there's some shame there if you're not doing it right. So all of these methods are kind of messing with our mind when we hear this sort of thing or experience these things as we're growing up. So I can tell you like some of my experiences of trying to be an artist.
But you are an artist.
I am an artist. But nobody taught me how to draw. When I was a little girl, 3 and 4 years old, we lived in an old weathered barn house. And I noticed one day, either it was the sprinkler was on or it was raining, that since it didn't have any paint on it, that the places where the water hit made this weathered wood turn really dark.
And you liked it.
So I licked my finger and put it there and started making fingerprints. But then I get dehydrated and splintering. So I chewed up some old weed, stems that I found, dried weed stems. And so I could spit on those. But I decided, I got to get some water. So I went to the garbage and I dug out a tin can and got some water to stick my little chewed on, piece of weed to make a brush, and started drawing on the side of the house. And then as I went down the side of the house making marks, then it dries up. So then you have another empty, canvas, and you can go back to the beginning and start over.
And finally somebody saw that?
Well, I don't think
nobody cared.
No, nobody cared.
Oh, good.
Okay, and
that's
then
lovely.
The second very important thing that I can remember in my attempt to be an artist is that, and again, it has to do with garbage. Some neighbors were throwing a paint by number set into the burn barrel out back. In the days when people burned their garbage, and then rarely took things. We lived in a small town, and there was no garbage service or anything. You burned the leaves in the ditch. You burned your garbage in a 50-gallon barrel out back.
Took it out.
So I saw him coming out with it. I'm like, what do you have there? It looked really interesting. I saw the colors. And, do you want that? So,
nothing. It's stupid.
But there was no paintbrush. Again, I had to devise a paintbrush. And there was some discarded lumber, and that was my canvas. So I painted with the oil paints on that. So again, from the garbage. And interestingly,
You made yourself an artist.
I told these two stories to when I lived in Reno before moving to Colfax. I was there for 25 years. I belonged to the art organization and showed in competitions. There was a lady that I got to know who did an article for the Reno paper. She asked if she could interview me. She titled it, "The Artist Comes from the Garbage," or something to that effect. And at the time I thought, oh, that's kind of, I was surprised, because I'm telling everybody there's going to be this article on me and they're going to see that. Yeah. So I didn't think too highly of that, but now I do. Now I think it's pretty cool. So the book I'm writing about drawing and creativity is Draw Garbage. Draw Garbage for Brain Health.
Draw Garbage
for Brain Health is the second line.
And why garbage?
Okay, good question.
Yes, I thought so too.
So the reason why I say, and of course everybody's trying to talk me out of that title, because it's like, nobody's going to buy that. But I think that people will be curious.
Yes.
To know why.
Absolutely.
Why is she saying draw garbage? Because I have encountered so many students in my attempts to teach people to draw who have an extreme negativity. Like I said, they're beating up on their artist baby by saying that they can't draw a straight line. By the way, straight lines are boring. And
there are few straight lines.
Yeah, but don't use a ruler because it ruins the creativity in your artwork. Anyway, they're always looking for the perfect art materials, the perfect thing to draw, the perfect subject matter, and all of these are excuses to not draw.
Yeah.
So the perfectionism kills creativity. So the more I thought about this and how can I get people it's hard to get people to change their mind about saying that they're not creative. So if you give them permission to draw something that just doesn't matter. So in the beginning of my book, I have a lot of pictures I've drawn of things that would just be discarded, the crushed aluminum can or.
But even so, if it's a beautiful picture of a can.
Yeah.
And it's a can.
So the whole thing is it doesn't matter. Like you said, it doesn't matter.
That's what it is. It's garbage.
It's garbage.
And some garbage, and there are places that are fascinating, that don't look like you think it would.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm amazed. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. So working on art is important for brain health. What do you mean about brain health?
I'll pretty much have explained the importance of developing the right side of the brain.
Yeah. Okay.
That it gives you creative problem-solving skills, whereas, and I think that I probably wouldn't have as much of an IQ as I have if I hadn't,
started when you were 3.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Or tried to find art materials anywhere I could. We only had in our home paper that had lines on it for school things, right? Mm-hmm. So I noticed that in the newspaper there's kind of this wide margin.
Yes.
And I would cut it out and tape them together or glue them together.
Oh, what a good idea!
Like I had an important sketchbook.
Yeah.
Again, that's pretty much garbage, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes. And what a brain you have. Mm-hmm. You had and have. That's wonderful. Yes.
The first time I was actually probably someone acknowledged the fact that I was doing okay with my drawing. When I was in 5th grade and we had to do study the states, we had to draw ourselves, the 5th graders, pictures of the state animal, the state bird. We were doing Nebraska. I don't remember what the bird is for Nebraska. I'm sorry if you're from Nebraska.
Don't worry about it.
But I did a drawing from, I don't know, probably an encyclopedia or I don't know. And so the teacher had these projects on the wall. This is the animal, this is the bird, this is the flower of the state. And one of the other teachers from the next room had popped in one day when I was getting ready to leave after school. And she saw this drawing of the bird that I had done. and she came to me. First of all, this is really good. It's like, oh, I did something good. And because I didn't get good grades in grade school. Reading is okay, writing is kind of okay, but math is not. And so I was always very ashamed of my grades. So when I got kudos for one thing, it was a big deal. And she said, how do you make a branch look like it's coming toward you? So you've got a bird sitting here, but how do you know, it's okay to make a branch coming this way, but how do you make it coming this way? And I freaked out. I didn't know what to say. All I could think of was that you have to look at it.
Yeah.
And it turns out that was the best answer I could have possibly given, but I didn't know at the time. There were a few other times in my life when people said, oh, it actually looks like a squirrel, or it actually looks like a cat, because I was so young that people didn't realize that someone that young could make something, because kids draw from imagination. They perceive the world, and then they translate it without looking at the object, and so they're basically cartooning. And then they get to a point between the age of 9 to 11 is a crucial time in children's life, that they suddenly realize, oh my gosh, this doesn't really look like the car. This doesn't really look like
I'm terrible.
Dog.
So I'm terrible.
Because they're realizing what they're drawing isn't what they want. And so that's a time when
they're convinced that
either
they
they
can't
try
do it.
harder, which is rare, or they decide, no, can't draw.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much the time when they're...
Oh, gee. Yeah.
So that's a crucial time. So like if people hearing this have kids and you want to give them some inspiration, possibly the best thing to do is draw with them, and instead of getting angry at a child for making marks on the wall, hang some white paper on the wall and draw on the wall with them. And if you set an example, maybe it'll just keep them going.
Yeah.
And too bad that we can't do that to the school system.
Yeah. Oh my.
So that's my biggest complaint.
What kind of art do you create?
So I paint with all mediums.
You paint. Okay.
Paint mostly. Yeah, I'm a painter. I had an art studio, teaching art studio / gallery in Auburn, as well as being part of the Auburn Old Town Gallery. And I took work to sell on consignment from local artists, which the co-op gallery is local artists, but those are the people who are contributing by, working on the gallery and manning the gallery as well. And I also taught classes. So I had 4 potter's wheels. I taught pottery ceramics. I taught basket weaving.
Where?
A little bit of calligraphy. In the same building with Auburn Old Town Gallery.
Okay.
Because we started in this space way back.
Yeah.
At the very end of that. It's an old livery stable building.
Yeah. Okay.
And we got the opportunity to move forward when was it the Caterfly that used to be there? So long ago. It was, I think it was 97 when she moved up the street. Anyway, so that left that front space of this, right off the sidewalk. So people coming by on the sidewalk could just go right in without having to look for it. Yeah. Right. And then when we vacated the rear space in that building, then I moved into that space. Before that, I was teaching at the community center in Colfax. And before I lived in Reno, I was just teaching out of my home. Yeah. But
everywhere you've been teaching or writing?
Yeah, since I finished college in the early 80s. Yeah. I've been teaching art part-time. I was working in the school system for a while, but I found it was much more challenging for me to have private art lessons. So that's what
much more challenging. Why?
Yes. Probably because of the negativity that I face from the people who want to learn how to draw. Trying to figure out what to say and do to help them, to make them, to give courage because it causes fear.
I had a friend who, and I worked with her. She was an artist and she was teaching, and I was convinced that I couldn't do it, and so I was, oh no, this is no, and I never really got it right. and I was never really content. But even though I wasn't content, I was, oh, look at that. Look at that. That's interesting.
And when
I
you
was
get
surprised.
to that point, it becomes a meditative process. I can't really meditate. And I know that, especially nowadays, with all of the problems that the world has, it's so healthy to be present and try to meditate. I meditate when I draw, so that's good enough for me. And which you probably likewise, even when you're writing.
No.
No?
No,
it's, well, okay.
No.
Sorry, I don't know what to say about that.
Okay. Of course, it depends. If I'm writing a story, then that's different. That's different.
Okay.
When I'm not writing stories, and I'm writing all about people.
Yes.
Or myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if we look for your art, do you have it someplace?
I used to show in several different places. I've competed in many art shows. I've shown in Sacramento and art competitions. But I'm retired, and I've done all that. I've gone to street fairs. Where you have to work so hard to put up a booth, and it's never really paid off. That kind of thing.
Okay.
And I was with Auburn Old Town Gallery for 11 years
Yeah.
before I decided, there's other things I need to do. I need to concentrate more on my art instead of trying to sell it, because I don't really care if it sells anymore. But I do have the book which I showed you, that I just have a first-time effort in illustrating a children's book that's called The Lonely Moon. It turns out there's a couple of other books that has the exact same title. It's available on Amazon and Borders Books, but did I say it wrong again? Barnes and Noble. It's the B thing. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have my watercolor there, and like I said, I do oils, and I just don't do dry pastel.
Okay.
Colored pencil, all of it.
And you still do that?
Yes.
And
yes.
and so your house is full.
Yes.
Yes.
And my mom's house, and my sister's house, and my daughter's house.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have recommended a book to me called "We
yes.
Need Your Art."
Yes, it's called, and Amy, A-M-I-E instead of A-M-Y. Let's see, I have her name written down. Just McNee. It's called "We Need Your Art. Stop Messing Around and Make Something." So that's the full title. But "We Need Your Art" are the big words.
We need your art, and the rest is what?
Stop messing around and make something.
Okay. And why do you like that so much?
Okay, so this is not just for people who draw. This book is a gem. She recently did a podcast. It's one of the most, I guess it is the most popular podcast. It's called, Jay Shetty, which so many people have read his books. How to Think Like a Monk is such a terrific book to read if you're, that's another thing to help you if you're struggling with creativity.
Wow.
I forgot the name of his podcast. Let's see if I wrote it down here so I could tell you. Shoot. Well, anyway, if you look up Jay Shetty, J-A-Y, Shetty, S-H-E-T-T-Y, when you are looking at your podcast.
J-A-Y. And then what?
S-H.
S-H.
E-T-T-Y.
E-T-T-Y. Jay Shetty. Okay. Amy McNee and or Jay
On
Shetty.
Purpose. I just remembered the name of his
Oh,
podcast.
good.
On Purpose.
This is what happens. This is what happens. I love that.
Well,
I
I've just got so many
love
things
it.
going on in my brain, and I wanted to be sure and get all of it out.
What is it again?
On Purpose
On
is the name
Purpose.
of it. Yeah. So she interviewed, and anytime you're looking for inspiration for a creative outlet, it's a good one. He interviews people from all walks of life, all interests. So this Amy McNee, who wrote "We Need Your Art," is focusing her efforts at everybody. Nobody's left out. If you're a writer,
Even if you're not an artist.
if you're not an artist, she tells you why you need to express yourself creatively. And it's especially because we're born needing to express ourselves creatively. we are, since the beginning of man, we had to draw with a stick in the dirt to show somebody where to find the berries. Map making was one of the very first forms of art. All of our language, our alphabets evolved from pictures that people drew. And we never have lost the need to express ourselves with mark making. For me, that's the most important, but for you, words are the most important.
Okay.
Yes. And she gives good inspiration to anybody who's trying to express themselves with any form of art whatsoever, and telling you why you need to.
And why do we need to?
Because we're born that way.
Because we
We're
need
born
to. We
needing
need to
to
because we need to
express our self-creativity. Yes.
And if I don't do that, I'm missing something.
You're missing. You're not
I'm missing
developing
something.
your whole brain.
And if I start to do it, I will be happier.
Yes, of course.
I will be happier and more interested and learn, and certainly learn more. Yes, these people, and Annie McNee, Jay Shetty, and On Purpose, I have not heard anything about. If I had been working on art, is it because it's important for brain health? I would have heard about them.
Possibly, sure.
Probably.
Yes.
And I would have been. Yes, of course.
Yes. And the book Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain.
I have seen that.
Yes,
I have seen that. I've heard about it.
It's been around since 1979, and Betty Edwards died a couple of years ago, but most of her career she spent not only teaching art, but trying to get the whole world involved in helping people be able to have drawing lessons when they're in grade school, or to be treated with art therapy in order to help them. So she worked very hard at it, and she did a lot in her lifetime. She's written several other books too besides, but that book is still used as a textbook to teach people not only how to draw, but to teach teachers how to help people learn how to draw.
And why to draw. And why.
Because we are born that way.
Yeah. And I have been amazed and thrilled about the amounts of artists around here, because I think they're so clever, and because I'm proud of them, and it makes Auburn and the area just wonderful. But you're teaching me that it's more than that. It's more important than that.
Yes, it is.
Because we need to do it. Because it's good for us.
Well, not only doing it, but the art that you create helps other people. When other people see visual art, it gives them something. It gives them a communication between themselves and the artist who created it. So it works two ways.
Yes. And is that are those some of the things you're showing in your blog and on your Facebook?
Yes. Yeah, I have some easy instruction for art on both my blog and Draw Garbage Facebook page that I have. And the book that I'm working on, it's gonna cover all of this.
What's the name of your book?
Draw Garbage.
Draw
It's in process.
Garbage.
I'll be looking for an editor and a publisher.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Draw Garbage.
it's in the
Draw
development
Garbage.
stages.
And you're going to explain why Draw Garbage.
Draw Garbage for brain health.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. And you're going to explain about garbage and you're going to, and it's going to, at first it's going to sound like you're being funny.
Yeah, I was actually sort of told that I'm trying to be too funny, but I think that's just the way I operate. Like I wanted to step in here and ask you, how come we're not in your mom's basement? Because I thought public access cable TV was always podcast from mom's basement.
My mother isn't around. And
Like, Wayne's World, Saturday Night Live. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So look forward to Draw Garbage. I'm sure you're going to hear about it. And take a look for Amy McNee and Jay Shetty and On Purpose. And take a look at her blog and Facebook. Are we done? We're done. We're done. Thank
wow.
you. Thank you. Whoosh. Yes, I told you so.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for
That was
being
fun.
Yes. This is Susan Sorensen, and this is Muse, and I'm happy you were here.